Right. Hello. Hey, Dan. Hey, Andy.
Hey.
Hey, so welcome everyone who's streaming in today. We are having an exciting session today on how blockchains are made easy with no code, low code format with the open format team here who have joined us today. And today we're going to have a great session on a couple of things. Um, uh, just a second. We were getting a bit of echo, sorry about that. So yeah, as I said, today's going to be a good session, very interesting and different session than what we typically do, because we're going to have a bunch of Web3 based applications on how to build. If you have no idea about how to build with Web3, this is the perfect start, because the open format team has joined us gracefully to share with you a bunch of interesting templates and things you can do with Web3 with combination with BuildShip and FlutterFlow. So today we have Andy, who is the co-founder and lead engineer at Openformat. Hey, Andy.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, good. And we have Dan, who is the head of growth and community from Openformat team.
Hey.
Hey, Dan. So I'll let them introduce themselves and actually share what is the whole, how can you build with Web3, why blockchain, and why open format. So I'll hand it over to you, Andy, to get started.
Sure. So I'll just talk a bit about myself and kind of our journey with open format. So as Harini mentioned, I'm co-founder and the lead engineer at Open Format. I've been experimenting in the Web3 space, blockchain space for about 5 years now. And I guess around just over 2 years ago, myself and my co-founders came together as we had this kind of shared belief in a more optimistic and democratic vision for the future of the web. So we're really interested in digital economies that can change relationships that consumers have with their data and assets on the web. So love the idea of economies also offer fairer value exchange. And for me as a developer, I really love the idea of building on decentralized tech stacks that are kind of that are open, that anyone can build on. The web started decentralized, and then now it's kind of in the hands of a small amount of people. So for me, that's kind of a real passion of mine to build on this decentralized web. And I guess another thing is around the idea of portability and ownership. I've probably already signed up to 3 different accounts today on 3 different websites, where the idea in kind of the blockchain space is that you have this single identity, and then you can have multiple personas that's tied to that. So it means that, so in the current world, current state of the web, all your interactions, all of your connections and your digital assets are local to individual sites. I kind of love the idea that you can share these, because you own them, you can share them across different platforms. So content creators and gamers will know this. They'll know that if their platform goes down, they have to start again, or if they want to move from one game to another game, they can't take all of those things with them. They have to start from scratch. So it's really interesting, because in the real world, it doesn't really work like this. I can spend dollars in different places, and I don't have to register every time I walk into a new shop. I could just walk into a new shop and spend the same dollars. So it's really interesting. And this is why blockchain is really interesting. And the reason is that all of the rules for an application, a business, or just any kind of interactions where there's rules involved, it just means that they're transparent. So they're baked into the code. So the code has the rules, not the people who, it's not the people who you're interacting with, or the business owners. So it's really interesting, because it makes it really open and transparent. It means people can be kept accountable. So if I'm interacting with a person or a business, I want to know that they're delivering what they said they would, and they're keeping their promise to me. in the same way, it works both ways as well. So so I can talk all day about this stuff. But if you want to learn more about this, our Substack page, which I think will be linked, we have a whole lot of writing on there, and you can see our principles and how we kind of think about our vision of what the web could be. So at the moment, Openformat has two main focuses. So we have our on-chain rewards, and this links back to having fair value exchanges between users and applications and businesses in digital economies. So we are trying to work out, like, how do we enable builders to reward their users these tokens and these assets for engaging with those applications, so you can create this fair value exchange between the business and the users. So that's one area of focus, and that's what we're going to be thinking about today. And another area is microtransactions. So it's all well and good saying, oh, these new digital economies that are open, it's all amazing, but they still have to be financially viable. So we are currently working on like a plug and play microtransaction system that will integrate nicely into our rewards toolkit. So so today we're focusing on the rewards toolkit. This rewards toolkit is taken a lot of inspiration from game mechanics. So everyone will be used to this, because even non-gamers, I'm not really a gamer, but I like the game mechanics I use on a daily basis in various different applications. And our focus is around blockchain-based XP and badges, leaderboards and missions. So you kind of think of Duolingo, if it was all based on the blockchain. It's that kind of thing that we are making it more accessible. So anyone with blockchain knows that it's hard. Anyone who's tried or anyone who currently does, they know it's really hard. This is something that we work really hard on, and a really big for us is making it accessible. And it's kind of why we're here chatting to you guys and doing this, doing the competition, which Dan will be talking about in a minute, is just making it accessible for everyone to use this technology and have, benefit from all these things I've just spoken about. So they're quite high level concepts, but we're hoping that today will kind of make it a bit easier for you. So I guess I'll hand it over to Dan, who is our kind of no code guru, to talk just a bit about his journey and more about the competition, I guess.
Yeah, that's super exciting. I think before handing over to Dan, I think what I want to say is, like, we have tried using Web3 in a bunch of applications before. It has been super challenging, and I'm super excited about how it makes it very easy to build Web3 applications today with Openformat. And Dan will be sharing about the hackathon competition. I'll also share the link for those interested to follow along, and I'll share the Openformat website link so that you can learn more. And I think I'll really enjoy the way you are making the most common applications and use cases and packaging and making it easily accessible. So that's something I'm super keen to learn more about here today. So Dan, take it away and share a bit about how you are building with Openformat and also with BuildShip. I think that is a super interesting journey on its own.
Yeah, so I guess going back to like September last year, I literally had no idea how to build an app, all of these concepts. So I've got a technical background. I did a mechanical engineering degree, but like actually building an app just seems so like far removed for me. So then, but at the same time, I was at Openformat seeing Andy build loads of cool things, and I was like, I want to get in on the fun. I want to actually, be part of this. So discovered BuildShip, and literally overnight, it kind of changed how I did these things. So I just disappeared into my bedroom for about a week. My housemates didn't see me at all. And then I came out and I'd built all sorts of different things because I could with BuildShip's framework. So very thankful to you, Harini, for what you've built and the flexibility it offers and the ability to get really deep with, JavaScript and custom nodes and all of that. But yeah, basically that allowed me to then create a few different projects. So one of the projects I built was a workout app. So it was more of a workout fitness ecosystem. So it was based on a workout tracker, but I included loads of different on-chain game mechanics. So When you completed a workout, you were rewarded with experience points. You got different achievements for like completing different workouts, completing different exercises, getting personal bests, all these different things. There was an AI assistant that was gated, and you could only unlock it when you'd spent so much time, like you'd earned so much, like so many points, you'd spent enough time in the app to unlock it, or you could pay to unlock it. So there was a few different features like that. So yeah, that was really interesting. Then built a few more apps and spoke to a few different people about it. Lots of interest in how to approach it. So that's kind of why we got to this point of deciding to create a competition in Hackathon, and creating a set of nodes and templates so that people can very easily, hopefully in say 30 minutes like we're going to do today, take their application and then introduce this concept of rewarding users, letting them own their own, like own the things they do in the app, and their interactions with the app, and giving them access, and then taking what they earn in one app and moving to a different one. So with that workout app, say I had a taekwondo app, I had a running app, I had all sorts of different things, and they were all connected. And when you did something on one app, you could then take it to another place. Unlock, like you say, a shop. You Harini, could set up a shop and then allow people who have earned a badge in my app to get an exclusive item. And there's lots of interesting ways you can kind of cross over, have like co-marketing opportunities. So yeah, really interesting. So with that in mind, we kind of decided it would be a good idea to open this up and help other people build in this way. So yeah, we've created a competition. The general idea is you build a project or an app with Openformat and BuildShip, which is hopefully very simple. We're going to go through that today, but also have a series of tutorials and little sessions, all sorts on that, to make it really easy and show how you can do different things. So yeah, very open in terms of what you could build. There's lots of different things. Hopefully we'll give you some inspiration. And then we've got some great judges. Harini, for starters. Yeah, amazing that you're involved as a judge. We've got from the Openformat team, Sarah and Bruce. From Ambitious Labs, we've got Aleem, which is a really cool no-code accelerator. Very cool team there. From FlutterFlow, we've got Leah involved, and then from Machinations, Mihai. So yeah, we've got some really cool judges. And then prize-wise, obviously can't have a competition without prizes. So yeah, there's £3,000 in cash prizes across a few different sections. There's also the ability to win for the most potential for a startup. You can win the most promising startup, a seat on the Ambitious Labs Accelerator, which is worth $5,000. And then all the winners as well will get 6 months of BuildShip Pro. So yeah, very exciting. Hopefully going to be some very interesting things built. I mean, just last week in preparation for this, I was in BuildShip, sorry, and I created a Stripe loyalty system where you when you made a purchase, you were automatically rewarded with points just based on like your email address. You were rewarded with points, and then you could use that for discounts. And there was all sorts of cool things. And created a Telegram bot that rewarded you for like contributing to a community. So there's all sorts of potential here. So yeah, I'm excited to see what people build, and hopefully today will give you a bit of inspiration, show just how easy it is and how like it's not intimidating at all. And actually there's a lot of kind of stigma, like preconceptions around blockchain and Web3 and like crypto and all that sort of thing. So hopefully we can show how you can actually use it to really do good. And it's
yeah, I think that is really good point, where people just feel intimidated that, oh, I don't know how to build Web3. So the open format team, Dan and Andy, they have done all the hard work already, where they have created all these cool templates that they're going to showcase, and you can actually take that and use that as a starting point for your idea and actually expand it any which way you like. And I'm actually sharing on my screen their link where in this competition, all these crash prices, also ability to showcase to different kind of folks in this no code low code community what you're building, and further take that idea and keep continuing to build on it. So this is going to be super exciting. So with that, I think what will be awesome is Dan, if you want to share a simple app, like I'm just getting started, I have no idea how to go about it, and how do you do that? So we can keep this session very interactive and Q&A style. So if you have any questions as well, keep popping them in the comments, and we'll try to address them towards the end of the session as well. So let me actually go ahead and share Dan's screen.
Yeah, so just to keep this session interesting, I actually didn't tell Andy what I was going to build until right now. So
Thanks,
yeah,
man.
we thought we'd
no pressure.
Make it live and yeah, up the stakes a bit. So basically what I've got here is an app I built last night, kind of like a TaskRabbit sort of app. I'll boost put the live set the test session. So I use FlutterFlow, and we're going to connect it to Openformat with BuildShip in a second. Basically, yeah, sort of like a task app where in local communities, people can add tasks and then other people can volunteer. So as it is, it's relatively interesting. There's a few different things you can do with it. But I think adding my kind of vision here is adding this reward system is going to really change the usefulness of the app, because it's going to add a new dimension, because you can actually reward volunteers for doing good. So you're giving rewards to people who kind of deserve it, and in doing so, there's kind of this element of proof of like social action, and you've almost got a digital certificate for doing different tasks, where nowadays a lot of volunteering roles are quite they're quite big commitments. It's like, join and you've got to do like 10-15 hours a week or whatever it is. So this is kind of like bite-sized little tasks you can do and then prove that you've done it. So yeah, we've got it's not perfect by any means. I just made this in a couple of hours last night, but yeah, we've got my tasks, so then I can scroll through different tasks. I can volunteer for the task. When I volunteer, I can either mark it as complete or I can abandon it and then someone else can volunteer. We've got a time commitment, a little description, and also I could add a task here. So I don't know if you have any questions about that, Andy, but yeah, I'm hoping we can take this and we can make it a bit more exciting. We can add a reward system in and kind of change the dynamics of the app.
Okay, great. So should we say, would you like to reward, I guess, do you have anywhere where you can display, so we want to reward people some XP, right, for completing a task? Is that fair?
Yeah, so what I was thinking is, yeah, when they've volunteered for the task and then when they click the complete task, they'll get rewarded with XP, and then they'll be able to see that in potentially a leaderboard section. It'll come up, say, congratulations, you've completed the task. Here's some experience points. And then, yeah, maybe there's a leaderboard to show other people in the area and how much XP they've got, so you can kind of compete in your local community. Yeah, also, apologies for the name. One thing I'm bad at is names. Happy Helpers was ChatGPT's idea, not mine, so I'm handing that responsibility.
Yeah, nice. Blame the AI. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So should we start in BuildShip then?
Yeah, I think so. So I've got some folders, but yeah, essentially blank canvas. So
cool. So just start. Should we go through just some of the nodes that we have available very briefly?
Yeah, sure. I'll just add a basic trigger and then I'll head to the open format section. So yeah, in this node section in the integrations, we have Openformat, and currently there's 6 different nodes. So do you want to explain a bit about them?
Yeah, so the nodes that we have been based around our testing over the last year, and essentially what people will be interested in, the kind of things that they wanted to integrate into their applications. So big trend that we've noticed is rewarding XP. So this will be essentially giving the user something. So giving the user a token, so XP token for completing an action. And any gamers will know what I'm talking about with XP. And then with badges, the idea is that you can reward a badge when a group of actions have been completed, and this is like completing a mission. So the idea is that because these under the hood, these badges are NFTs. They can be kind of like the things I was talking about at the start. They can be portable. You own them, so they can be used in multiple different places, and they have lots of utility. So it means that you could use them as tickets for events. You could use them to gate access into your website. You could use them to just show someone, they could be for vanity. They could be for lots of different things. So that's where the reward XP and the reward badge comes from. So then we've got, that's the reward nodes. Then we've got around getting information from the chain. So one really quite difficult thing is having to essentially get information back from the chain. There's lots of technical things that are required. So we try to make this easy. So we have 2 nodes here where there's one called get user information. And what that will do is that will look at your Web3 account on chain, and it will essentially say how much XP you've earned and also the badges that you've collected. So not like a traditional kind of profile endpoint in an app, but it's pulling the data from the blockchain instead of a database. So then the next one we have is get leaderboard. And what a leaderboard will do for a specific app, it will pull down from the chain all of the XP that's been earned over a certain period of time. And that will basically be pulled back, and you can see that in your application. So there's a couple, I think there's 2 others that we just had up.
And each of these has that information panel, right? Like, so if you click on the eye, you can learn more about what each field is and where you get that information and so on. So that's super useful.
Yeah. So all of this will, so you'll need to get set up with Openformat, and we'll show you that in just a minute. So we also have our templates that we've created. So we're actually going to demonstrate, I think, 2 of the templates based on what Dan would like. So at the moment, if you go into the templates, you'll see, I think it's under integration, or you can just search for Openformat. And we want to have a rewards XP rewards integration. So Dan, if you click on that one.
Yeah, I think that template is probably the easiest way, right? Because it's a complete app, and you have that link to documentation to, just plug in all the things and then what it looks like, right? I think that's a more easier way. Yeah.
So what this template does, this allows you to, so it's using Supabase, and it will allow you to reward XP to a user based on a given user ID. So the example would be if you had an existing system, and user base, you could simply pass in a user. So you can simply pass in a user ID for the person that you want to reward, and it will create if there is no wallet already associated, if there's no Web3 account already associated with that user, it will create one in a separate table, which we've called Web3 accounts. And that will then send the XP and do all of the on-chain, all the blockchain transactions for you. So it's a real kind of plug and play template where it can work along an existing system as well as a new system as well. So it's really great for kind of understanding this.
Oh, that's a good question. Does this work for Firebase also? So basically, the only change would be you'd kind of replace these with, get row. You'd replace with, is it get field? Or yeah, you'd use the Firebase equivalent, and other than that, it'd be exactly the same.
Yeah. So you could switch. It could be switched out for any database or any data source. So as long as the structure comes back in the right way, I think for us, the main bits that we're doing here is that we are creating a Web3 account and putting it into your database table. So whatever table that you have or whatever structure, that can all be changed as long as the information. So we're putting in the Web3 account, and then we're also rewarding. So as long as those fields are correct, it doesn't really matter the structure of your table.
Yeah. So we can actually we support a bunch of database tables like, Firebase, MongoDB, Postgres directly, and so on. So I think, yeah, as you said, this database can be swapped out. And I think the structure too, if you're not sure what structure to put in, you can individually test each of these nodes, and you can look at the output and make sure that is compatible and add it to your table structure on whichever database.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but for this one, I've already kind of pre-prepared. So I've got a Supabase database, very simple app. So I've only got a tasks table and a profiles table. My profiles table has got a name and a photo. Other than that, that's all I've got. So yeah, would it be useful, Andy, to put the API key and URL in here?
Yeah, so I think we'll want to create that Web3 accounts table first.
Yep, sounds good. So I'll go.
So we'll go. Do you want to go ahead and do that?
Yep, Web3 accounts. And I guess it's important to note that if you whatever you decide to call this, just make sure that it matches to what you've got in here. But we'll call it Web3 accounts. And what are the different things that I'm going to put in here?
So we've got, and this is all in the documentation for in the node itself, and also there's documentation on our website as well in the Openformat docs that will tell you the structure of this. So we would like account underscore address.
Underscore address. Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be a text field.
Yep.
And then there's also private key.
Private underscore key. Yep.
Text and then field. That's text field as well. So something, just something to be aware of here is that when creating Web3 accounts, a Web3 account has a public key, so that allows you to send to people. So that's like receiving. So that's like your bank account number. So you send that to people and you can receive funds. The private key is around authorizing funds, so authorizing sending of funds from your account. In a production environment, you would have proper key management for your private keys. You wouldn't store them in a database like this. So we will provide some resources in our documentation just explaining why this is important. But just for this demonstration and getting you guys up to speed, we're just putting it in the database for now.
Yeah. And then user ID.
Yes.
Yep. So I'll add that, and that's going to be a foreign key to my.
So I think that's just a text. That's just a text.
So I'll just for this one, I'm going to link it to my users, just because that's what I've done in my.
Oh, cool. Yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So this is just linked to my authentication table. So as a user authenticates, they get an ID generated. Right. And then I'll just for this. So for now, again, in a public environment, you wouldn't do that, but I'll just turn off row level security, and then save. Perfect. Right. So that's that set up. And then I'll go to the project settings and API, and I'll grab the API URL and API key.
Yep.
So add that there, and then add that there. and then go back, get the API key. So get this one. Again, you probably wouldn't want to share this, but since it's just a demonstration and we'll be deleting it afterwards, there's no harm. Okay, perfect. So we've got the Supabase set up now. So I guess it's just open format to get set up. Is that right?
Yeah. So should we go? Do you want me to show the launchpad? Or do you want to go? I think you've already got it open. So let's stick with your thing.
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to create a new account, Dan?
Yes, I'll connect with my GitHub. I might have already created something, but it'll be the same process, right?
Okay. Yeah.
GitHub.
So here we what we're doing is we're making it easy for everyone. So we are actually creating wallets in the background for you. We use a service to do this, which is managed, so everything's stored securely and it's all being audited. So you guys, like when you log in, you only have access to your keys. So if Dan just goes into the settings, so here, this is showing the public and private key. So if Dan clicks on export, so he'll be able to copy the key for the Web3 account. And another thing when using blockchain applications is every time that you do a transaction, so sending XP. So if Dan was to send me some XP, that is a blockchain transaction. And you have to pay a gas fee. So it's called gas. It's just a transaction fee for the network. Currently, our launchpad is all on a testnet, and we are funding everyone's accounts behind the scenes. So you guys don't need to think about any of that. You like, as soon as your balance gets a bit low, it will either tell you, it will say your balance is low, come and chat to us, or it will automatically top up in the background. So we're just putting the auto top up stuff in over the next few days. So yeah, it just means that you guys can like transact or you can interact with Openformat without having to think about this extra step of setting up and managing these accounts and getting tokens into your wallets. Eventually, it's something that we would like you to be able to do, but for right now, we just kind of want to, yeah, we've kind of got you for now. So yeah, so sorry, where do we get to, Dan?
But I'll take that key. So this is going to be the private key, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just paste that in there.
So that is you're sending this XP from your account. So okay, cool.
And then do I need it? I guess create a new API key. I'll want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'll copy and paste this in the BuildShip, paste it there. Okay, nice. And now
then we need a DApp ID. So this is just setting up. We need to set up our decentralized app in Openformat. So if you go create whatever you want to call it, Dan.
I guess I'll go with this name that I created. I'll stick with it.
So just before we move on, so this is the blockchain for anyone who does know anything about Web3. The blockchain that we're using is Arbitrum, and Sepolia is their testnet. So if you look at the drop down again, Dan, if you just open that up, we are currently we're in the process of supporting other networks and also mainnet. So if you guys, obviously, you're going to want to start building on testnet, and then if you want to move over to mainnet and make your badges and tokens real, you be able to do that by going to mainnet. So we just want to, at the moment, we're just letting people have a play and have an experiment and understanding what they want to build. So cool. Do you want to carry on, Dan?
Yep, I'll create that. So it's creating. Okay, perfect.
Cool.
So I've got my ID now. So I'll grab that and then I'll add that to BuildShip.
Yep.
All right. So I guess I'll just ship this now.
Yep. So just to remind people what's happening, we are we are checking, so the first get row, the super base thing there, we are checking to see whether when we pass in that user ID, we're checking to see if that user already has a Web3 account in the Web3 accounts database. If they do not have a Web3 account, we will create one for them, and then we will reward the XP. So at the bottom, reward XP will always happen, whether they have an account or not. Just there's one step where if they don't, we will set that up for you.
Yeah,
that is super cool, where actually literally you created a dApp based account and on a net like super fast, and I think that's probably the fastest I've seen. You usually have to like go through a bunch of documentation trying to figure out what to do. Even like that's great.
Yeah,
And
this is kind of why we
yeah, a lot of that
yeah,
was
it's kind of why we want it.
actually like 7 clicks really, like it's
Yeah.
Great.
We've been working really hard over the last year to kind of minimize those steps and kind of streamline the process as much as possible and abstract a certain amount without abstracting too much away. Like we want people to know what's actually happening in the background. So when Dan created the dApp, there's a toast message that comes up that says view transaction, and that will actually link you to the actual blockchain transactions that's happening. So you can see all of the raw blockchain transaction there. But for people who don't, that's it's okay. You didn't need to know that stuff right now.
Cool. Yeah.
So, should I now use this and add it to FlutterFlow?
Should we give it a test?
Yep, that's a good idea. Always.
Let's give it a test.
So I think it's just going to all be data from there. I don't need to add anything. So I'll just.
Well, do you need to add a?
Oh yeah, receiver. Oh no, it should just be create. Let's see.
So you need. Hold on, Dan. Do you need to add any pass in a username into the body?
Yep, that'd be good.
You can also if you have previously tested it, actually we have on the logs, you can just fill it up from that. But yeah.
Perfect. I'll just grab a user ID for one of my profiles. Bob Marley. I'm very creative, clearly, with my.
Yeah. So we recently actually released improvements to logs. So if you go to the BuildShip logs section of that workflow, you might even be able to grab it from previous logs.
Yeah, one sec. Okay, got that ID, so I'll put that in. Okay, yeah, let's have a look at the log. So I think this will have just created a non-associated account, but yeah, so it's created an account. It's just not linked to a user ID. So if we test this time, it should now be linked to a user. It should be linked to Bob Marley. So this will be Bob Marley's account. So yep, that's created for him. And then.
So do you want to just quickly look at that URL, Dan, in the result, just to briefly show people? So a thing has happened. So I appreciate most people won't understand what a lot of this information means. However, this is a blockchain explorer, and this is essentially just showing you what the transaction has happened. So we can see here, Dan's hovering over it. He's sent XP to this address here, and that's his XP token. So we're doing all of this stuff in the background. So basically you guys don't need to, but it's available there if you want to see it. So cool.
Yeah, so now in our Web3 account, so if we go to public, Web3 accounts, so yeah, we've got this one that's now linked to that user. So that's perfect, exactly what we want.
Okay, so we've nailed the first bit. We've taken your existing application that has nothing to do with Web3, and we've now integrated it with your existing user base. And we've created a separate table that stores the Web3 information, the Web3 accounts, and you've now successfully rewarded someone XP. So you've basically rewarded Bob Marley his first lot of on-chain XP. So do you want to then put that into FlutterFlow now?
Yep, I do. I'm itching to do it, Andy. I'm itching for it. So
I can see you're itching. Sorry, keep
I was
interrupting you.
like, yeah, let's go to API call. Yeah, so I've got a FlutterFlow, so I'm just going to add an API call. So it's actually quite interesting. So I've got a pro FlutterFlow account because I use it all the time, and I didn't realize that you could only have 2 API calls. So if you've got more on the free tier, this is. So if you've got more, you can approach this potentially slightly differently. But we've managed to condense all of this into 2 API calls, which is pretty crazy if you think about turning a normal application into a decentralized application in literally just 2 API calls and a few clicks. Yeah, quite crazy. So it's a post request. We'll put a URL in, and then we'll just call this reward user. So I guess there's only one variable, which is the user ID. So this is just the user ID we were passing into BuildShip, which is a string. And then in body, should be super simple. We'll pass this user ID over, drag that in. There we go. Now, if I add this call, it should do everything. So if I grab that user ID we had before, so this is when we tested it in BuildShip, but now if we test it in FlutterFlow, hopefully that'll just reward Bob Marley with some more experience points, which would be great.
Cool. I think another thing you mentioned is the pro account also has a YAML based import, but yeah, go ahead. We can chat about that.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's all been successful. So I guess now what I want to do is when they complete a task, I want to reward them with experience points. So I'll just save this here and then head to my actual application. So, and I'm using FlutterFlow, but you could use any either no code tool or even like, development environment. And you're basically just going to add the API call, and then which one is it? It's going to be task details page. So when so it's going to be when I complete the task. So for this button, I'm going to add an action here. And yeah, what that does is when you complete it, it updates the database. But all I need to do here is add an action, backend/database, API call, and then the one that I just set up. And I'm going to pass in that user ID. So set variable user ID, and then the value is just going to come from the authenticated user ID. And that's it. Now they should be rewarded in the application when they complete a task. So is my test mode still alive? That's the question, and we can try it out. Although right now we'll have no way to actually check because we've got no screen.
So should we look at the leaderboard, because then it means that we can see it. Yeah. We will see it reflect in the application. Yeah.
Good idea.
So let's use, as we're using Supabase, should we use let's use the Supabase leaderboard template.
Yep. So Supabase leaderboard. Yep. Okay. Nice.
Great.
And okay, I guess I'll just go to the other one and I'll grab these pieces of information.
So as I mentioned earlier, the leaderboard, it will generate a leaderboard based on the XP that people have given within your app. So Dan has created his application in our in the Openformat app. So it will all be scoped to that single application. So because with with Web3 applications, as I was talking at the start, you can use them, you can connect to lots of different applications with a single account rather than having a different account for every single app. We scope all of it to a single app. So me as a user, I could go to Dan's app, I could go to Harini's app, and I could be earning XP in different apps and earning badges in different apps. But when we use the Get Leaderboard node, it will scope it to a single app.
Okay, so I've added in my API key and my Superbase stuff. I guess for this one, I'll just add in the DAP ID actually in the workflow just to make it a little bit easier.
You can actually save all these in variables and secrets so that you don't have to.
Yeah, that is what I normally do.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you look at my secrets, I've got all sorts of things in here. Yeah.
You need to invalidate this secret, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So perfect. Now I guess I just need to say what duration I want. So I could pass this in, but I guess for now I'll just say I want a weekly leaderboard. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
And I guess I'll say I want 20 results.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I test this, should I get? Will it work? Let's try it. So I guess hopefully I'm going to get just from this information the results, and it'll just be one person in the leaderboard for now. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Oh no, we've got that.
Yeah.
That
so we've got two because we've got two because we rewarded the first person but didn't pass in a user ID. But what it's done with this template is it's actually just said it's anonymous, because when the data comes back, if you just use the Get Leaderboard node, it will actually return the public key of the Web3 account, which is not really useful to most people in applications. So what we've done in this template is that we have used Dan's profile. He has a profile table in Superbase, and what we actually do is say go and cross-reference the Web3 accounts table with the profiles table, and if the user IDs match, then just say it's the name of the user and also their like avatar URL or photo URL. If it doesn't do that, there's a fallback photo URL, and also it will just say anonymous. So rather than, because it hasn't found a profile. So
photo there.
Yeah, so all of this stuff can be changed to suit your needs, and just reach out to us if you need a hand with kind of understanding how this stuff works. But I guess you want to get this leaderboard in. Let's ship it and get your leaderboard in. So hopefully that will close the loop on rewarding and people being able to see those rewards.
Yep. So I'll add this as my second API call. Copy that in. Let's just call it Get Leaderboard. And I guess the interesting thing, so right now we've just created all of it today, but theoretically I could have the ability to choose between a weekly, a daily, a monthly, what options? Yeah, so a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, or all-time leaderboard, which is pretty cool. I could do all of that just in the application. So I don't actually need to pass anything into this, so it should just be ready to go. So let's test this. Okay, perfect. So I'm getting back the name, the position, the photo, and the XP amount for each person. So that's perfect. I'll just add this call. And I guess what I want to do now is actually reflect this in the app. So I'll very quickly make a page that'll show this. Create a blank page, call it leaderboard page. Make this super simple. So to fit with the rest of the app, I'm going to make it that color. In the column, I'm just going to have a list view. for the different people. I'll give it a bit of padding. It's not going to look perfect, but I'll give it a title of Leaderboard. I'll add it to my nav bar. Leaderboard. Give it a little trophy icon. I think, yeah, that one's nice. So yeah, I've got my leaderboards page here. I can change the order in a second. So in that list view, I'll want to have, I guess, a container, which I'll make slightly different color. Give it a little bit of a radius. My absolute awful design in this like speediness, but yeah, give it a height of say 75. That's probably good. Infinite width, and then I'll create this. So then for the list view, I guess I'm just going to go and get this from the API call we made. So using the get leaderboard API call, I'll do that, confirm, create some children from that, from the response, and I think that'll want to be there. So right now I've got a list. I'll add a little bit of space in between the different ones. So for each of these, I'm just going to add a little row and give that a little bit of padding on it. Give it 8 padding. And then we'll just want to add a text field for the position, an image for the user's picture, and then I'll add a little column. And then in this one, I'm going to put the user's name and the amount of XP they've earned. So I'll do a little bit of formatting here. Make this, yeah, let's go body large. And this is just going to come from the leaderboard item. So the JSON path for this will be, this one's position, so dot position. So pretty simple. Then the image, I will make this a bit smaller, make it what, 50 by 50. That's probably going to be good. With a big, so it's a circle image. Give that a little bit of padding as well. And the URL for this is going to come from that item as well. So the path for that will be, I can't remember, is it dot photo, or is it dot image URL? I'll have a look in a second. Dot image URL. And then I'm going to add here, I want this to be the name. Oh no, it's dot photo URL. You know, I'd get the wrong one. So yeah, dot photo URL. And then I'll add here the name. And I apologize, I'm doing it a bit rushed, but you can just see how quickly I can literally add a leaderboard into my application. It's just a matter of creating a list.
Yeah, so I think the mapping of each field, how you want it to look like, I think that once you get that done, the harder bits are already done, right? That's the interesting thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can have a play around with making it look pretty, which is probably not my forte. But yeah, so for this one, I'll combine the text, and because the value that's going to be returned for the XP is just a number, so I'll put a space and then the words XP, just so you can kind of see what that number actually means. And then the path for this is going to be, I think it's .xp rewarded. Let's double check. Yeah, .xp underscore rewarded. So you can see all of that in the API calls. But yeah, this should hopefully work now. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So save it, and then I'm going to have to launch a test mode again.
So while that's launching again, I think it'll be useful to summarize what just happened. I think for people who just joined in between and things like that. So I think in just 2 API calls, one, it could be something that is attached to the user's profile creation, right? Like every time someone signs up to your app, it can, create a entry in your database. But then if they do some action, like, something that earns them rewards or points, either be it's an app, in-app experience where they did some activity that gives them something, this API call adds to their user profile certain points, right? You can define the logic any way you want here, but in open format you get that easy way to really get that API keys and things to create that on chain, right? And that is super interesting. And then it's saved to a database here on Superbase, but it can be anything else. And then on FlutterFlow or a front-end app, you are then able to show the leaderboard. That's a second API call, which is summarizing weekly, monthly, or daily who are the people who have the highest points and things like that from that saved entries. So that's pretty cool.
Yep, exactly. Very, very simple. And you can add, this is a very, very simple system where I'm literally rewarding someone for one action.
Yeah.
So because of that, we've only given it the name like completed task. But theoretically, I could pass in here, I don't know, a link to a file that's got an information about all the tasks. Like say, we want to actually record all the volunteers' information in this like example. So it could be a link to like some proof that they've done it, or it could be anything really. So our action name is just completed task, but we can get a bit more granular with this. We can also reward different amounts of XP based on different actions. So say an 8-hour task might earn 800 points, whereas a 1-hour task is like 100 points, or maybe the like actual person who creates the task can choose how much it's going to be worth. There's all sorts of different ways you can kind of get a bit more detailed with it, or there could be lots more different actions that are rewarded.
So we have sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Harini. I was going to say for your use case, Dan, it's actually quite a nice thing to also use badges. So it means that the user it's kind of like a proof of it's like a proof of attendance, kind of proof of volunteering. So you could almost have that as add that to part of your CV, and it's on a immutable data source. So things like that is also really interesting about how you collect these badges as you go through life and complete different tasks. You could essentially build up your digital and verifiable proof of what you've actually achieved. And the nice thing is if you had, every single education platform and every single thing that you did that you would like to, prove to people that you've done for maybe jobs or anything else, you can kind of start adding that, creating that digital CV. So yeah, that's just another idea that's how I would enhance your app. I think my next step would be adding those badges.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay,
that looks good.
It's worked. Right. Should we push it a bit and log out and then create a new account? And
let's do it.
That's what I'm pretty sure I just made a log out button that doesn't actually log out. Of all the tech things, it's just of all the tech things to go wrong in this demo, that's a great one.
Yeah, and I think the general principle here is that this could be any app where it can use the same APIs. You can have like a mobile app, you can have like a web app, you can integrate this in any other kind of system as well. Need not be like an app even, right? Sometimes if you want to even like a Slack bot, but people have done something and it calls an action to give them rewards, for example. So
something actually explaining about the Slack bot earlier, what you just said, Harini, was a lot of this stuff actually started with that. We created a kind of an employee engagement system, and that was within Slack. So our whole team, we used Slack, And I essentially created a thing in that as soon as someone like said, oh, I've just done this really cool thing, or a client was really happy with what I did, you could add, it's like certain people in the company could add a muscle up emoji to the message, and it would send them XP. And then as the company would be like, okay, you can get this if you have a certain amount of XP. So that's kind of how it started, which is very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is still like a really interesting use case, because in a community, I think earning rewards is also, I think leaderboard concept applies there very much, where who is the person who has contributed most to helping others or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. This looks good. I think Dan is creating a new profile.
Yeah, so let's have a look. So profiles. So yeah, Dan's here. So I'm Web3 accounts. We've now got a third one, which is linked to my Dan account. So then hopefully I've just earned some XP by completing a task. So hopefully if we got the leaderboard, yep, there we go. Yes.
Close to first place already. Great. So this is amazing. So I guess like we have a bunch of questions as well coming through, but before we jump into that, it'll be useful to showcase the other templates you have. And there are a bunch of other templates on BuildShip. So if you want to give a quick walkthrough of what those are.
Yeah. Sure. Do you want to go, Andy?
Yeah. So yes. So each of these templates are, so we have the leaderboards ones that we've shown you. So we have the XP reward integration, which is what we just used, and also the Superbase leaderboard.
Yeah.
We also have a Firebase leaderboard as well. So that's already set up for you. And relating to the question earlier, you could modify the XP rewards integration to use Firebase or any other database or data source that you'd like. We also have a badge access verifier. So this is really good for event ticketing, or it's very good for rewarding people if they need to have a badge in their Web3 account to then do something. So that might be unlock something. There's various different kind of use cases in our documentation, just to give you guys inspiration for that.
It's like a key, isn't it? It's like using it as a key.
Yeah, exactly. So so we've got the badge access verifier. It's kind of also good for in-game permissions, so like unlocking certain things, and just general kind of membership verification stuff. And then the other badge that we have, the other template we have is level progression tracker. And this allows you to create levels kind of within your leaderboards. So it's really good for things like telling people how you can progress to the next level, what you need to do to get to the next level. Again, going back to Duolingo does this similar thing of you have different levels and whether you've gone up or down and what it would take to get to the next level. So again, this is great for kind of the same applications that we've been talking around kind of education platforms and employee engagement platforms and other things like that. And then possibly my favorite is the geolocation reward. And this is great for geofencing applications, kind of like proximity based or event check-ins. So I actually want to create in the city that we're in. I actually want to go and create a treasure hunt and have these, kind of basically like a Pokemon Go with much less of a budget. So the idea would be that you set a current location, and this would generally be coming from the user's mobile app if you're doing something like a geocaching application, and you set a target location. So then when that person enters that target location, it will reward them a badge. So it could be something like, again, going back to proving that you did things. The idea would be prove that you've gone to 10 different locations and we can reward you something else or give you access to an event. I think this is great for like brands and also great for like content creators and artists promoting gigs and things like this. Is like go to different places to unlock some more stuff.
Yeah,
So
this is super cool. I think there like a lot of ideas can emerge and spark from this one specifically. It's I think this is like proving that you are in a specific location that is hard to cheat on, I guess. Like that's great.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think there's one more, which was the check and reward mission. So we haven't really got into kind of the concept of actions and missions at the moment, but this is quite core to that's kind of core terminology for our rewards toolkit. And the idea is that with XP, that is an action that's happening. So if I complete, let's say I go and do volunteer for a task. So I complete a task as in Dan's app. And so that's an action. The idea of missions is that, and gamers will know this, you complete a bunch of different actions and that will make up a mission.
Yeah.
So what Dan has just showed you Dan, can you just open the editor? Yeah, there. So we're working on how to improve this, and actually we're looking at building a mission builder within our Launchpad, our app, where you set up and manage your applications. So at the moment, we're currently doing it as you can just pass in an array of objects, and it will say this is the mission, and the requirements are for you to complete these actions, and they all have a count on them. So in Dan's example, you need to complete this geography essay once on different levels. But this might be, if I'm going back to the kind of geolocation app, it will be the actions are go to these 10 different locations. And once you've completed those 10 actions, we will then reward you. You've then completed the mission, and that will give you access to something else.
Or say for my the Happy Helpers app today, it could literally be like one mission could be reward 10 people, and it's just complete a task 10 times. Then other ones could be like do 5 in person, help 5 people in person, help 5 online, or it could be like, and this kind of goes back to what we were saying about how you get into describing your action name, but it could be do like 4 tasks that are over 10 hours in time commitment. There's all sorts of interesting ways you can do it. And yeah, this is quite interesting. We're going to do some tutorials specifically on this because you can really create quite a complex reward system off this and take it quite far if you want to.
Yeah, this is great. I think we have a question now from Paul, who says that it's great and it's timely for him as he's building a lifestyles task management app. He wants to know if you can explain a bit more about the level progression tracker template. I think one thing useful to note is like if you clone any template, there is that information panel where you can visit the guide, which will have more details and video tutorials and documentation. So maybe if you want to quickly go over that one as well, we have a couple of minutes.
I can do that if you want. So I made a video for this, so it'll probably go out later today, which goes through an example where, but essentially what you could do, say in my Happy Helpers app, and I'm not going to go all the way through this, but essentially I could say have a progression bar. So if I go, I think they've got a widget with that built in.
Yeah.
So a progress bar, change it to linear. So what this is going to do is it's going to return, the API call will return the amount of progress you are through a level. So you can choose different XP requirements for different levels. So say before Bob Marley was at 200 XP and I was at 100 XP. You could have that level 1 is 100 XP, level 2 is 500 XP, level 3 is 1,000, and you've got, like that progression. And as you earn more points by doing different tasks, you're going to see the progress through the level. So you can kind of reward people when they get to the next level. And there's lots of interesting things. As I said, I've got a video, so I won't go into too much detail right now. But that's the general concept. You can have like a progress bar, and different levels, and you can allow people to unlock things at different levels and get rewarded at different times. And yeah, that's kind of the general concept.
Yeah, I think they can like unlock certain kind of gems or some images and NFTs and whatnot. So it'll be cool to see that. I think, yeah, as I said, like, you find information about every template in the information panel. Dan is going to publish a lot more videos so you can go through it in detail instead of, in a short 1 hour live stream. And I think what's interesting is also that, there is a hackathon on the back of this that Openformat team is launching. So this is a great way for you to explore and earn, win prizes. As I said earlier, I'm just sharing the link again here. I'll also pop that in the description below. There are great prizes to be won in different categories. You get also BuildShip membership in this if you win. And also showcase to all these kind of cool folks who will further kind of promote your idea and support your idea. So hopefully that is exciting. And what's the best way for someone is building with this to get further support? Is that to head over to the Discord?
Yeah, so we've got our own Discord, and we'll be popping in a bit less, but we'll be popping into the BuildShip to see if people have got questions there. Yeah. And yeah, also we're very aware this is quite a new concept, so we're going to share a calendar link later, which will basically allow people to book, a half-an-hour session in with me and Andy, and we'll next week, like over the next 2 weeks, we're just going to give a lot of our time to help people, understand, get started, think about, the different ways they could use this, because we've spent a lot of time thinking of really cool things, and we want to help and inspire other people as well to kind of see how they can bring this into their app. So yeah, we're gonna be sharing resources as well. So Discord will be there like all the time, running loads of live sessions, loads of like open sessions, and sharing our calendar.
Cool. And in that link for the hackathon, if you sign up in that form, you'll also get all the information you need for the next steps of how to submit, the deadline, and all that information. So, again, book time with Andy and Dan. This is great opportunity to also, collaboratively build. So, yeah, I would say, this is amazing opportunity for others to explore. And thanks a lot for sharing. This is super cool. And I definitely learned a lot. I'm going to explore some leaderboards internally within our team, and also maybe, put some leaderboards on our Discord community. That'll be cool. Cool. So any last thoughts, any closing comments, Andy?
I guess I'm just really excited to see what you guys build, and just always keep sharing stuff with us in our Discord. Like, we love seeing what people are building. We come up with ideas internally all the time, but it's really nice just kind of seeing what you guys are building. And yeah, I just want you guys to have fun, and just come if you have any issues at all, anything you don't understand. Like, there are no stupid questions. Like, please just ask us. If you aren't comfortable asking questions like in the public channels, just we have support tickets in Discord, and that will just be me and Dan and a couple of members of the team. So feel free to just reach out whenever you want. Like, we're more than happy to help.
Great. Love it. I think this is an amazing session. Thanks for joining in today, and look forward to seeing all the submissions of the hackathon, and looking to see what people build. Thanks everyone. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, guys.